from Euronews. Imagine that. Unknown leftist extremist group claims responsibility for Athens bombing. From Oman al-Yayi, a newly emerged militant group called the Revolutionary Class Self-Defense. And this is what I'm telling you, Western nations, you really do need to wake up to leftists in the West, right? You really fucking do. Leftists actually compose a majority of violence in Western nations for like the last few decades, outside of what's defined as terrorism, right? The Friday evening blast caused minor damage but no injuries following a warning call made to two media outlets approximately 40 minutes beforehand. The extremist group also said it was behind another explosive device that went off near the Labor Ministry building in the Greek capital in early February. In a lengthy statement posted online Sunday and seen by Euronews, the group said the attacks were part of an armed opposition against the state, dedicating them to the Palestinian people and their heroic resistance. You see? You see why we need to deport fucking people who support Palestine? It's breeding extremism. It's not just breeding extremism in the United States, it's breeding extremism in the West because they are falsely and intentionally misrepresenting the conflict that occurs between Israel and the Palestinian people. Right? The left-leaning organization also referenced a man killed last year while assembling an explosive device in an Athens apartment. The group linked its actions to widespread anger over Greece's deadliest rail disaster, which occurred in 2023 when a freight train and a passenger train were accidentally directed on the same track near Tempe, killing 57 people and injuring dozens more. The tragedy exposed serious safety flaws in Greece's rail infrastructure and has sparked ongoing protests, particularly by families of the victims. Yes, well, if you guys don't know this about Greece, Greece actually has a very poor economy in comparison to a majority of the European Union, especially in comparison to like France and Britain and Germany, right? Or like Sweden or Denmark or uh, fucking whatever. Okay? Why is that? Because after all these new nations comprised or came together and made the European Union and they adopted the euro, it destroyed their economies. So effectively, you have members of the European Union that are like basically the slave labor happening in Europe, right? Why does Greece doesn't have money for sophisticated rail technology, right? Like, look, guys, population of Greece 10.5 million. That's it. That's the entirety of Greece. Greece is significantly sized. It's also very mountainous. Right? 10.5. Whoops. Jesus. Oh my god, dude. GDP of Greece. The economy of Greece is the 52nd largest in the world, with a nominal GDP of 252.732 billion annually, right? The GDP per capita of Greece in 2024 was $24,724. Sure, it's gone up, right? I'm pretty sure $24,000 is what we consider the poverty line in the United States, in which they're referencing the money in dollars and not euros, but they use euros. Okay, so they actually have less money than this number because they use euros, and things in the European Union are more expensive than they are in the United States. You guys see the problem here? So they make up 1/4 of $1 trillion a year GDP of the European Union. The European Union's GDP is estimated to be 20.29 trillion in 2025. Right? 20.29, and the European Union also has more people than the United States. 20.29 trillion. Okay? Greece doesn't even make up this portion right here. Okay? So you guys see what the issue is? Oh, okay. Denmark's not part of the European Union. Mm. I'm pretty sure that's Switzerland, right? They're just smack dab in the middle of the fucking European Union. Like, no, no, thank you. Um, the tragedy exposed here, blah blah blah. With the blood not yet dry, they attributed the accident to human error and the chronic deficiencies of the Greek state. The group wrote, accusing the government of using the tragedy to justify further privatization and deregulation. Mm. Here's the problem: what people don't understand. Privatization, okay, removes the burden from the federal government. You may or may not like that, whatever. Okay? That's what it does, though. Okay? It removes the burden from the federal government and it places it on um, privatized organizations. Okay? Which means that the entire financial burden lies on them, which means that the only way that they recoup their money or that they make money is by actually providing the service in which they're there for. And the only way they can provide their service and make money, which they have a interest in doing, is by doing a really good fucking job. People who work for governments have no interest in doing a good job because the money is guaranteed and they don't care if it fucking happens or not because they can always take more money from the fucking people. Okay? So, privatization is not bad. It can be bad. Yes, there's pros and cons to everything, of course, but most of the time it's not. And deregulation is also not bad. Right? There are laws in certain states, which laws are regulations, right? Where you can't chew bubble gum outside on Sunday, or you can't live with a woman that you're not married to, or some shit like that. But they exist as a regulation, and yes, those aren't usually processed, but regulations are always processed, even if they are no longer relevant. They don't skip over these regulations because they're no longer relevant. They still have to adhere to them and stuff like that. Right? Which means they have to pay money for them and all that. There's nothing wrong with deregulation. You can get to a point of overregulation. In most places, bureaucratically, do always get to a point of overregulation. And this is why, ask yourself, why does it take so long to go to the DMV and get a driver's license? Why does it take so long to get a passport? Why does it take so long to get a visa? Why does it take so long to do X, Y, and Z? Ask yourself, why does it take so long as a member of a European nation where you have socialized healthcare? Why does it take so long? Yeah, because privatized healthcare and prisons are going so well in the U.S. They are. Privatized healthcare and prisons in the U.S. Privatized healthcare in the U.S. is more expensive, but better quality. Privatized prisons in the US also have better living conditions for people in prisons than state-run prisons. Because guess what? Privatized prisons still have to follow state regulations. Hey, I'm just saying, my older brother's been in prison, my younger brother's been in prison, I've been to jail. I kind of know a little bit about it. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran who knows what socialized healthcare is like with getting healthcare from the VA, and it's fucking terrible. I'm supposed to have a biannual blood draw, right? Which means every 6 months I'm supposed to have blood drawn from the VA. I've been out of the Marine Corps for like basically four years now, right? I've been out of the Marine Corps. You know how many times I've had my blood drawn from the VA in 4 years? Twice. So you I mean I get where you're coming from. There's problems to everything. Like I just said, there's pros and cons. Right? I don't know if you were in the stream then. Right? But what I'm saying is privatization is actually better than state run shit. Also, the active TRICARE, great, but VA sucks. Agreed. Yes, yes. Active TRICARE um is great because they have a necessity to. It's like a priority, right? Like to facilitate it, right? But we both agree the VA sucks. The VA sucks dick. Okay, but it's the same thing in European countries, right? A YouTuber I follow, his name is Hidden Xperia, right? He's a Brit. All right, he does Halo videos. Love him to death. I saw a post a month ago about he was saying how he had a cyst on his eye, and it took him like 8 months. It took him 8 months to be seen for the cyst. Now it's going to take them like another year before they operate on the cyst. So he decided to go get private health care, right? So there's ups and downs to anything. But privatization, like I said, can be bad because the market has been the market is destroyed by foreign interests. Stationed in England and Germany, a lot of people love their healthcare. I none of my English or German friends or English or German people that I've talked to love their healthcare. I have never heard them say they love their healthcare. They think it's awesome, right? They think that it's cool that they have socialized healthcare. Why is that? Because the English and Germans, I mean, back then, right? So so let me put it this way. You're probably older than me, right? I'm only 28. I don't know how old you are. Okay? Um I wasn't stationed in England or Germany. I was stationed in Egypt, Belgium, and Mexico, right? I have never heard foreigners of countries with socialized healthcare say it's great. They just appreciate the fact that they think that it's free, even though it's paid for by their taxes, because they're already in better health. Love Belgium, good food and beer. I don't drink. The food was good. The food was good, but I don't drink. But I'll take your word at that because the other Marines that I was there with, they loved drinking Belgian beer. Um, but like I was saying, right? So when you talk to a European, you have to understand they're already in better health than an American. So they don't mind waiting a long time to receive health care because basically a majority of their health care is just general like wellness checks for Europeans. Now, if you talk to any European who's actually had to have like comprehensive surgery or something that's like life altering or something that's very serious, they fucking hate the medical system because it takes forever for them to be seen. Whereas with privatized healthcare, sure, it might be more expensive, but the timetable is much more short and you're paying for higher quality health coverage, right? So there's always ups and downs. If you're a person in good health, yeah, you would love for there to be socialized healthcare that's actually not super expensive because all you need is a wellness check for a doctor to stick his finger in your asshole and tell you that, hey, you're in good health. Keep up the good work. And then you're like, yay, great. And then he gives you a gold star. He smacks you on the ass. He pats you on the head. And then you walk out the door, right? But we don't have that in the United States. 70% of the population of the United States is overweight and 40% of the population is severely obese, right? Socialized healthcare is not an option in this country until we fix our health. Um I mean, that's all off topic though because we're talking about this article with an unknown leftist extremist group. And Yan Yan, thank you for being here. Welcome in. How are you doing this fine evening? Um, Greek authorities are actively investigating the attacks with surveillance footage and mobile phone data under review. They noted the reemergence of homegrown and extremist groups which have carried out low-scale bombings since the 1970s, causing damage but rarely any injuries. Well, that's good, I guess. While older networks have been dismantled, newer factions have surfaced in recent years, representing what officials describe as a new generation of domestic extremists. Yeah, no shit. How? Okay, here's what I don't understand. Okay, this is what doesn't make any sense to me. And I understand that people have to do radical shit sometimes or crazy shit sometimes because they have to bring attention to something. All right, man. Thanks for the convo. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but I like learning and I like common sense. I agree, man. I agree. 100%. I would love to hear what you don't agree on. Um, but so for someone who carries out an attack like this, they claim that they're carrying out this attack because they're upset about Greeks that died because of poor infrastructure that was handled by the government. So now, because of your their domestic bombings, they're detracting further from allowing resources to go to infrastructure and stuff like that because now the government of Greece has to spend resources on catching them, um, investigating them, trying them, basically proactively hunting them down, resources to clean up bombings, and God forbid there's any injuries or deaths. Then you just null and voided your entire argument for carrying out the bombings, right? And again, I understand people got to do crazy shit at sometimes, but I don't understand how this actually solves anything in Greece. You don't have to blow shit up in order to bring attention to it. All right. Um, while the train service has been privatized, Hellenic Railways remains in charge of maintaining the railway infrastructure, including tracks and stations. In its statement, the revolutionary class self defense has blamed the Italian company for the Tempe accident without providing any proof of its claims. That would be that would probably be great. Hellenic Train, which now operates as a subsidiary of Italy's uh, Ferrovie dello Stato Italiane, following its sale in 2017, was previously part of Greece's state-owned railway system. Okay, so Hellenic Railways, the train service has been privatized, but the infrastructure is still maintained by Hellenic Railways. Okay. Yeah, but again, I just don't understand. I don't understand why that would be that would be the goal. Ooh, not anymore.